What's up, traders? In today's video, I will be performing a market forecast on Nasdaq using smart money concepts. So stay tuned. Now, if you haven't already, I highly suggest that you guys go ahead and you watch the previous Nasdaq market forecast video, because today's video is going to be a continuation of that particular forecast. What I want to be doing with these market forecast videos on Nasdaq is I want to be uploading one every couple of weeks, just to show you guys how I follow price, how I look for potential trading opportunities while following that overall higher time frame narrative. All right, so make sure that you catch up on last week's video. Now, for reference, I am recording this video on the 24th of July 2022, so roughly 3 weeks since our last market forecast, and we're going to start off here on the weekly time frame just to give ourselves again a picture of what that overall higher time frame narrative is telling us. Okay, now we can clearly see that price action has given us a really nice strong bullish reaction off of this weekly demand zone. All right, and we can quite clearly see that this bullish reaction is now a weekly pullback that has started as we are playing within this weekly bearish leg. All right, so we are currently trading within discounted pricing of that weekly leg. Now, it's important for you to understand why this is significant right now, right? Because logic dictates and our trading approach dictates that we can now anticipate price action to pull back towards premium pricing before potentially rolling over bearish. Right now, we do have two targets on the weekly time frame that have not been reached yet: 10676.2, and then at the more extreme level 6623.3. okay, we might be seeing a little bit of a recovery on Nasdaq, okay, especially because of this nice bullish reaction. This is the most bullishness we've seen in the pair for a long period of time, because you can see that we have been bearish ever since the end of 2021. We've just been absolutely falling in price, so there is potential for Nasdaq to continue bullish. All right, I would only truly regard a full-on Nasdaq recovery after this particular strong high is taken. Okay, if this strong high stays in place, then we can anticipate more bearishness on Nasdaq. Okay, so but for now, from a weekly time frame point of view, we are currently sitting within a bullish pullback, and we can anticipate price action to trade into our premium pricing. Now, the only level that truly stands out for us from a weekly time frame point of view would be this weekly supply level, which is the extreme of this bearish leg. Okay, we obviously also have some zones in here that are a lot clearer on the lower time frames, but for the most part, this is the one that we would be looking out for. All right, now if we drop down to that daily time frame now, and this is where things become very interesting, we can see that we had that initial reaction off of the weekly demand zone that gave us a push off. Okay, but then price action put in a new stronger lower high, pushed price a little bit down. It still respected the weekly demand overall, right? It printed a new low, and what this has done is this has now printed a daily bearish leg for us here. So this is where things become very interesting for us here on Nasdaq, because as you can see, this is our overall weekly leg going from this high to this low. So this is my weekly leg with my weekly break of structure, which means we're playing within this range here. Now you can see that the daily leg, okay, you can see that the daily leg is completely contained within discount pricing of that weekly leg. Now, this is where it is very important for you to understand the type of trader you are. Okay, it is important to know what the weekly is telling you, but unless you are a true position trader that holds trades for weeks and months, all you need to know is that price action is giving us an indication that it might be continuing higher overall, But what you want to be focusing on a little bit more closely is you want to be focusing on your daily and your 4 hour, especially if you are an intraday trader or a swing trader like myself. So while our daily leg, which sits in here, is completely contained within discount pricing of the weekly leg, what we can see is that price action has already pulled back into premium pricing of that daily leg, and we can now anticipate from this particular point, we can anticipate price action to now roll over, okay, to take out this particular week low that we have seen printed here. All right, now this might seem a little bit counterintuitive to you because we have just identified that we are still trading within discounted pricing on the weekly, and we are anticipating that price action to push up a little bit higher, which is true. But as I said, we don't need to give the weekly that much weight when we are looking for intraday and swing trading opportunities, right? Because remember, even though we are anticipating price action to pull back into premium pricing on the weekly, it does not need to do that, right? Because from a weekly point of view, one thing that we can see price action is already interacting with is we've got this little weekly demand zone in here, right? That obviously sits within discounted pricing that we can see price action interacting with now. And if we drop down to the daily chart, we can see that weekly zone, okay, we can see that weekly supply is also the extreme of this particular daily leg. And we can see that within that weekly supply zone, we have a refined daily level that price action has already interacted with, the price action has already mitigated. So we have liquidity that's been taken, we have imbalance that has been filled, and we can now anticipate, based on our trading approach, we can anticipate that this particular daily high will remain in place because that is a strong high. It has done its job. It has formed a new low. And we can now anticipate from here the price action could push down to take out this particular week low, right? That is as simple as you want to keep it. So if we investigate a little bit further what price action has been doing on the 4-hour chart, you can see that things become a little bit clearer. So in the last video, if I just pull price action back to the 3rd of July when we performed that market forecast in and around here, you guys may or may not remember that we identified this particular 4-hour level as a level of interest, because at this particular point when we performed our market analysis, we saw that price action had already traded into discounted or into premium pricing of that daily leg to the downside, and we knew that this was a really nice area for us to look for those continuations to the downside, right? So understand how when price action eventually pulled back into this level, you can see that we had the nice mitigation, okay? We had price action coming into the 4-hour. It did push a little bit higher just to sweep a little bit of liquidity. And then what price action did is price action completely rolled over, okay? So a lot of money was made in this particular move here, but notice how price action did not break below here, because at this particular point, demand was still in control, all right? And this reaffirms the point that I want to make to you guys regarding what we're seeing on the daily and what we're seeing on the weekly, because at this point, price action had already grabbed premium prices of that daily leg, and we could have quite comfortably anticipated this particular low to go. But what price action did is it pulled back, it mitigated a 4-hour demand zone, okay? It pushed up a little bit higher, gave us another opportunity to enter short to go with that overall narrative of what we were playing at the time. It pushed down lower, but then it just respected another 4-hour demand zone that was formed in here, okay? And then it continued to push higher, and all this was showing us, it was showing us that price action was not quite ready to continue with that overall bearish momentum. Why? Because even though we did trade into premium prices here, the market wanted to grab slightly better prices, okay? And that's what we've seen now. So we've seen price action. We've seen price action push up, and we've seen price action come into essentially the extreme of that daily zone or that daily leg, all right? So what we're anticipating now is we can obviously see that we have another 4-hour demand zone in here that price action could potentially pull towards, okay? So going into the remainder of July, the start of August, what we could look for is we could look for a particular entry model in this zone to form, okay? And then we could trade price action to the downside, but we're not going to be aiming for the week low. No, what we want to be doing is we want to be aiming for something like this. We want to be aiming for that 4-hour. Why do we want to be aiming for that 4-hour? Because there is every chance that price action could mitigate this 4-hour and continue, okay, and continue with the overall weekly bullish pullback, okay? I hope I am making this very clear here, okay? Because from a daily point of view, we have mitigated a supply zone. We can anticipate price action to push down lower, okay? However, our 4-hour is showing us that demand is still in control here. And this particular zone in here, this particular 4-hour zone, could be the zone that price action pulls back towards to give us what? To give us a higher low. And this particular higher low that could form in here could be the higher low that pushes price a little bit deeper to continue with that weekly pullback as we are in that bullish pullback on the weekly time frame, right? So Nasdaq looking extremely interesting, very, very, very interesting. If we just investigate very quickly what happened here, we can see the price action has already tapped into and mitigated a refined 1-hour zone here that sits within that daily. And what it did is it actually went ahead and it formed another supply in here. Okay, so it's giving us a little bit more of an indication that supply could now be in control here, right? If price action were to pull back and mitigate something in here, and if that were to hold and continue, it would tell us that supply would be in control, but only up until potentially this demand zone. Okay, so going into the start of next week, going into the start of August, we want to be seeing how price action interacts with this particular level, and then whether or not we can run prices down to something towards here before potentially continuing with that overall weekly bullish pullback, all right? But the narrative remains that this is our daily strong high, and we are anticipating this particular low to go, okay? If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure that you hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. As I said, I will be making a market forecast here on Nasdaq every couple of weeks, just so that we can follow price, so we can look for areas of the chart that are high probability for us to continue trading either up or down. And I want to use this series of market forecast videos on Nasdaq as more of a practical way of implementing everything that we have been teaching on the channel thus far. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.